Yo everybody, what's going on? This is Keegan from Kman Reviews. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like and the subscribe button. And if you have any opinions at all that you would like to share, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. Sloppy Seconds. Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show were an American country rock band pretty well etched in the ethos of dad rock or pub rock. In fact, it was actually my dad who requested I review the band's debut self-titled album, which I did. If you're curious, there will be a link in the corner for you to go check out that review. But after finding out that my dad actually picked the wrong album, huge dad move by the way, he instead returned that I should review the band's sophomore album, Sloppy Seconds, released in 1972, which is what I'm here to do today. An album that shares a lot of similarities with the debut album in terms of background and creation. None of the members in this band actually have a writing credit on this album. Instead, the entire album was written by one Shel Silverstein, which, especially noticeable on this album more so than their debut, has its flaws, which we will get to. Chances are, if you know Dr. Hook at all, there's a high likelihood that the song or songs you know are probably from this very album. One glance at the track list, and I instantly recognized like 4 songs from the many car trips I had when I was younger and from my dad's MP3 player. However, I'm yet to discover the deep cuts, which I always love doing when it comes to albums like these, so let's not waste any more time. Let's just dive right in. What are my thoughts on Sloppy Seconds? Let's find out as I review it track by track. Since I couldn't find if there were any singles, we will just start at the top of the track list, with that being Freakin' at the Freakers Ball, which is certainly an interesting way to open up an album. It doesn't blow your face off, it doesn't come in guns blazing, the instrumental is actually pretty gentle and tame, the acoustic guitar melody is simple and minimal, plus there's some good string work in here as well. Undoubtedly, the biggest driving force of this song is Dennis's vocals. He portrays that grit and the roughness, but it doesn't sound bad at all. It almost sounds over-exaggerated in its goofiness. Speaking of goofiness, the song is pretty damn silly. You can hear it in the vocals that they're not even trying to control their laughter, and with some of these lines, it's hard not to just laugh along with them, even if some of the lines here border on excessively crude. And one line in particular that I'm not going to say or show that line, but let's just say times have changed and that line has not aged that well at all. Lyrically, I mean, come on, it's a stupid orgy song at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. And even though some of these lines are certainly products of their time and do weigh on my enjoyment of the song, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a soft spot for it. If Only I'd Come and Gone is an amazing song. Oh my god, I was not expecting this kind of banger so early in the album's track list. I love the airy guitar plucking that really reminds me of some Fleetwood Mac, that deep guttural pounding of the bass drum combined with this other infectious drum melody, the hidden string work that's only revealed in the few breakdowns. This instrumental is just so good, plus that's not even factoring in Dennis's voice. He has a very soft, gentle voice, and hearing that kind of clean vocal work over this already beautiful beat is like a cherry on top of a gourmet sundae. I also really adore how well this track is written. A lot of detailed imagery is shown here that in most other cases would have probably just been ignored. It makes the song feel so much more like you're actually part of the experience rather than reciting the same old adjectives and dry emotions you've heard a million times before. As the lyrics paint the scene of how he regrets not being out of this woman's life sooner so he wouldn't have to deal with all these restless thoughts and exhausting feelings of love. One of the best Dr. Hook songs I've ever heard. Phenomenal stuff here. Carry Me Carrie, which is one of the bigger hits from this album, and yeah, this one is also incredible, being a typical passionate ballad in Dr. Hook fashion, giving me a lot of familiar vibes to the song Sylvia's Mother off the debut album, having a pretty identical tone and chord progression from the opening piano and subtle guitar strumming. After a while of that, Dennis's vocals begin to ramp up as well, leading into the chorus with a soaring, harmonized melody revealing a palpable trepidation in Dennis's voice as he sings about how love should really be a two-way street. He's carried her for a while she was down, and frankly, he expects the same when he's down, leading to more manic and crazed ad-libs the further and further we trek down the song. The track packs a very good amount of weight to it. I wouldn't say it hit me on the same level as Sylvia's Mother did, but this is still a fantastic song and truly deserves its reputation as a classic. The Things I Didn't Say is another emotionally packed song, but this one has a bit of a traditional rock swing sprinkled throughout. It opens up with a nice country twang though, the guitar is again very minimal and soft, the strings are pleasant, the bass is the most noticeable it's been on this album so far, and its hearty plucking is always so nice to hear. And the percussion is just there enough to keep a slight resemblance of a groove going, but when that chorus hits, everything I just praised gets amped up tenfold. The guitar gains a bit more life, the percussion is punchier. There's even the introduction of a synth in there as well, which is an amazing addition if you ask me. But these lyrics really do strike a chord about how he didn't say anything when this partner walked out of his life, and now those words he didn't say are haunting him. It's all he can hear. Great track. Get My Rocks Off is one of the few songs on here with Ray on vocals instead of Dennis, and I knew as soon as I heard that ripping, funky bass that this song was going to be pretty mindless and rudimentary, and to the shock of no one, it is. To the song's credit though, I do really like the rest of the instrumental. The cries of the electric guitar, the sandy rattling of the percussion, the occasional flares of brass. It's a pretty sexy instrumental, I can't lie. Instead of Ray's signature gritty howl to his delivery, he puts on this deep, serious, and manly voice that I honestly cannot take seriously, especially on the chorus breakdown. The track does have some pretty funny lyrics though, especially on the last line of the last verse. That is an amazing line. But honestly, after hearing 3 of Dennis's most emotionally charged and tear-jerking songs, hearing this right after The Things I Didn't Say is a bit of a jarring switch in the track list. And plus, I don't have the same nostalgia for this one that Freakin' at the Freakers Ball evokes. This track just doesn't resonate that same instantly stupid and silly nature of that opening track, and I'm pretty sure that one is not just the nostalgia talking. I gotta pass on this one, it didn't really click for me. Last Mornin begins with a smooth, buttery bass line along with some heavenly string work. It is such a hypnotizing way to open up a song, especially as Dennis's vocals quiver a decent amount. He's got such a talent in expressing emotion in his vocals, it's kind of miraculous. I love the louder, folky guitars that add a bit of a richness to the song. The harmonies are so effortless, and the drums that come in halfway through give the song a great toe-tapping melody that perfectly fits the tone as the song progressively builds up in volume but never gets too loud. It sticks firmly in a tame, kind of folk country style, and the lyrics here are actually very deep and once again magnificently written about how our protagonist is at an extreme low point. How he had this vision of moving to the big city, but now his dream is full of loneliness and pessimism, stating at the end that he's going home, which could either mean moving back to his presumably small town origins, or if you look at it a certain way, maybe even a desire to take his own life, which honestly makes this song a million times harder to stomach. Regardless of the message, I really love this song. I Cant Touch The Sun is another punch of a ballad, but I think out of all the ones on this album, this is probably the weakest. Doesn't even necessarily mean that it's bad, because it really isn't. And this one actually has one of my favorite moments on the entire album, in that the bridge right before the outro, where Dennis weeps and cries over angelic string work. It actually sounds like a heartfelt plea, and he's on the verge of tears. It's very striking. Other than that, though, I mean, the acoustic guitar is nice, but not as instantly gratifying as some of the earlier moments on the album. However, Dennis's vocals here are still just as good. And it's one of those things that help this song from falling into just a filler track for this one. I also really enjoy these lyrics, how this relationship came to an end and now he's in shambles, knowing he can't turn back time or reach unfathomable heights for this partner, but instead just hoping that she can find someone who can. And it's crushing to hear these lyrics paired with Dennis's voice. I love the content here and I love how it's portrayed, but other than that, this one just didn't have that memorability the other songs here did. Queen of the Silver Dollar, one of the most iconic Dr. Hook songs, at least in my opinion. And yeah, this is a strong album highlight for me, if not my absolute favorite. Opening up with the most spare and cushiony opener on the whole album, with Dennis's almost whisper-like delivery over a soft guitar. I swear that part alone could be like a lullaby, but then the song really kicks in with the beautiful brass segment, tropical taps, light piano embellishments, an undercurrent of electric guitar, and a looming drum serving as the perfect build-up. This kind of intensity also returns for the chorus, just making it feel so powerful and rewarding. And I'll be honest, it's so nice to hear Dennis sing over something that isn't a ballad. Sure, he may have a fantastic voice for those kind of songs, but this switch up on the record is nice, and not the sudden transition that Get My Rocks Off was. Lyrically, the song seems to focus around this woman who has a promiscuous reputation, for lack of a better word. She was once a simple country girl with big dreams until she fell in love with our narrator, and after that didn't work out, she ended up traveling around, going in and out of many bars, and having plenty of relationships with various men inside these bars. It's catchy, it's well written, it's infectious, one of my favorite Dr. Hook songs, period. Turn on the World, which is actually a song that isn't on the Apple Music version of this album, so I immediately got worried that this song was vulgar to an obscene degree, but no, it's actually a very uplifting song with Ray delivering a very clean and natural vocal performance as he sings directly to this partner just about how special they are. You have the wings, so you go teach the world how to fly, how to love, and reach for the stars. The instrumental is also very soothing. The strings are beautiful, the harmonies are animated, the rapid-fire cymbal bashing adds a good amount of energy, the bass gives the acoustic guitar a sturdy backbone. It's a great song, and I can really see this instilling hope in at least a few people. Yeah, I guess I'm just very surprised and also confused as to why this isn't on the Apple Music version of this album, because I think it's great. Check it out. Stayin song is probably the strongest barn burner on this album, and I really like this one. The cowbell is a nice addition and plays well with the less aggressive drums. The piercing brasswork feels very monumental in the mix. There's a harmonica that reveals itself every now and then, and plus, not to mention, the typical electric guitar and bass. This really feels like a full band jam session, and it comes off as so fun and jubilant. The song is also the liveliest Dennis gets on the record. Hearing him howl with so much power and energy, especially in the later choruses, is very exhilarating, along with the harmonies also just being very good. Lyrically, this song actually continues to break away from the unabating melancholy of this record about how he's not used to actually staying in a relationship for too long, but there's just something about this one that makes every passing moment sweeter and sweeter. Love this tune, an underrated gem on the album. The cover of Rolling Stone, probably the most well-renowned song in the band's entire catalog, and it holds up like gold today. Still a phenomenal track. And also one of the few, if any, songs I know from this band that actually feature 3 different vocalists on the same tune. Ray takes up a bulk of the song, and him and Dennis harmonizing together is always a treat, even if Dennis is in his throaty pitch like he smokes 3 packs a day. But then we get guitarist George Cummings taking the second verse, and he's got an amazing bass voice. It's sludgy and deep, a very nice addition to the track. The instrumental is very simple and honestly gives off open mic night vibes. Light guitar licks, clapping, piano, plus a jokey, silly solo that is actually pretty funny when Dennis says it's beautiful. Lyrically, the song is truly iconic, just about being a typical rock band, loved everywhere you go, on all the pills and lots of women, and just wanting to be on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, which they actually did, and probably with strong support due to this song. I cannot hate this one even if I tried. Many sing-along sessions of this song filled up my youth. This is nostalgic as all hell for me, and I love it. One of my favorites. And finally, the closer, Lookin for Pussy, which, yeah, why did this have to be the closer? It's not even a fitting closer on an instrumental standpoint. The guitar is buoyant, there's synchronized claps, the title is chanted on the chorus by multiple people. I just don't see the reason why the cover of Rolling Stone wasn't the closer. It just made so much sense instead of this kind of tasteless song. It's a minute and a half long, and it's a minute and a half of my life I will never get back. Overall, when compared with the debut Dr. Hook album, this one definitely had a lot more standout moments, a lot more detailed, vivid songwriting, and some of the most emotive singing you will hear in a while. But the lows on this one are definitely lower, as this was also the album where the band's signature vulgarity and crudeness really began to shine through. And while in some cases it was done well, albeit a bit dated, in others it's just ham-fisted and more just cringy than humor. Of course, I can't deny this album spawned some of the most memorable hits of the 70s. I will always hold these songs close to my heart, and I also found some amazing deep cuts that hopefully you all can check out as well. I'm feeling a 7.5 out of 10 on this album. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!